Most High is your rock. Don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you want to fly or do you keep the Bible on cop? The Most High is my rock. TK. Rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on cop. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutling. Hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you want to fly or do you keep the Bible on cop? The Most High is my rock.
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
And welcome to the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. We are located at 8524 South Braeswood Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77071. Class times, if you join it, you know what class time. But for those of you that are new or watching a recorded show, we have classes Monday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Here in Houston, we have a Friday class, which you can come and ask your questions. And that's 7 from 2 to 2 or 6 to 8?
6 to 8.
It's from 6 to 8. You come through, all your questions come through. It's we're offline. So if you don't want to, you feel some kind of way of asking your question online, it's a more personal, intimate setting. We also have classes out in. We also have the Sabbath class here in Houston that's aired, and that's from 10 to 2, or from whenever we're finished asking questions, because we also answer questions on the Shabbat. We also have other schools. We have a school out in Virginia, out there with Ariyah, Zion, and Kazak, dropping some real fire classes. Their class days are Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., and they're Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The address for their school should be there on the screen. Also, we have schools in San Antonio. That should be there on the screen too. And Albuquerque, New Mexico, which they're working on a building. Upcoming feasts. We have the Feast of Pentecost, which is Tuesday, May 26th. So you can mark that on your calendar, Tuesday, May 26th. We also have the Blog Talk Radio that's hosted by Mashaba, and that's blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba. And that's every Tuesday and Thursday, and it starts at 10 a.m. Very good classes, something that helps keep your mind engaged, start your morning off right. Or if it started off wrong, you can get back on the right track. We also have other YouTube channels that, if you can check them out, subscribe to them, share them with your friends, family members, co-workers, associates, people that if you're out, just casually passing by someone and y'all happen to share a good word, give them the link. Everyone got iPhones or smartphones, just share the link with them. Say, oh, look, check this out, ISBHPK, or 5 Minutes of Wisdom, or Hidden Truth Bible Show, or Israelite Media Corp. We want to get those other YouTube pages moving so that we can get more subscribers and we can add more content. We also want to get the subscribers up for VA so that they can go live more than what they already do.
They can't go live yet from their YouTube, so we got to get it up to 1,000. That way they can go live.
There it is.
When they want to go street speaking and things like that. So they're at like 780. Let's get it.
780.
Send those links out. You can send them VA's class before you send them us. That way they can subscribe and
Perfect.
That up.
And then those of you that's already subscribed to us, if you're not subscribed to VA, go ahead and do that. You know, that it's not a secondary channel. It's the same channel. We're all the same school. Okay, also in Israel, they're not accepting orders right now due to them catching up on the Passover garments. They're almost finished. They're working on it. Sisters are working very hard to get these garments ready for brothers. If you paid, don't worry. It was not in vain. It is coming. If you need to reach a priest, you can reach Priest Kazakia at 281-707-2737. Or you can reach Priest Quatzazat at 303-557-8979. And please text only during class. We also have a business, Sweet Ambiance. You can get your aroma therapeutic oils, body fragrances. We have men fragrances. We have women fragrances. Like all your designer colognes and perfumes, they start off in oil. We just get it before they break it down and add all the extra stuff to it. So you get it in its pure form and it lasts a lot longer and smells a lot better. We also have body butters, bath salts, candles. You know, check out the website. There's a whole variety of smell kits. And it also supports the school. If you want to make any donations, you can drop that into our Wells Fargo account, or you can drop that into the Google Wallet. If you want to mail anything to us, pens, papers, books, notepads, dictionaries, apocryphers, vehicles, computers, like anything, desks, tables, chairs, you know, anything or any type of history book. The history books are much, much appreciated. Any type of books, anything that would help further edify and teach our people is much appreciated. And you can reach Priest Quatzazat to find out a good address to send those items. And that's it for the announcements. Got a good class for today.
How's everybody feeling? Right? Tawab like a Hebrew should. So, as y'all know, we've been going through the fruits of the Spirit. And we've been going through and just taking the time to break down what are the fruits of the Spirit, how they apply, when to apply, and really what they are. So this class, we're going to be going through meekness. We're going to be going through meekness. So this fruit of the Spirit is meekness. We're not going to do goodness because we went over a class in Virginia maybe 2 weeks ago about what is a good man.
Okay.
And it's kind of going to go into the same thing. So we decided not to repeat ourselves and sound redundant. But I'm going to come back on Monday with temperance. So it's going to be meekness today. VA is going to do a class tomorrow, not on the fruit of the Spirit. And then I'll come back Monday, or this brother or like a Rob will come back Monday here with temperance, which is another good one. Right, the word meek means humble. They already throwing it out there. The word meek means humble in the Greek. That's right on point. Somebody give me numbers. We're going to go right into the topic. You can just write fruits of the Spirit, meekness, or what is meekness. Let's go to Numbers. And I'm going to start here because, you know, and it's no knock to the person that threw that definition up online. Well, to be meek means to be humble, right? Okay. What does that mean? What does that, like, really, does that give us what it is to be meek? What it is to be humble? Like that, does that, it gives us an idea, but does it really tell us or exemplify what it means? Like, who knows what it is to really be meek? Abadiah.
To be meek is to...
Without looking it up.
Okay, to
Go ahead. You looking right at me.
injury without resentment.
Right, okay. That's part of it. What else? So even with that, what does that mean? I want y'all to think a little bit, so it's going to be more of a interactive. Shakai.
Having power under control.
Having power under control. Say it again.
Having power
Uh-huh.
under control.
Having your power under control, right? What else? It's a good one. I made it. Anybody else? Well, let's go to Numbers 12 and verse 3. Because, you know, even when we look at some of these fruits of the Spirit, like when we deal with faith, you can pinpoint Abraham and say, well, the scriptures say he was a father of faith.
Kind of.
Right? You can look at gentleness and say, well, Yahushua was gentle. Good.
Or,
right?
Or long suffering.
Or long suffering. You can look at Job, right?
Yeah.
So let's look and see at Moses. And why does it say this about Moses? Read.
Numbers chapter 12 and verse 3.
Right?
Now the man Moses was very meek,
Right?
above all the men which were upon the face of the earth.
Right. So he was meek above all the men above the face of the earth. But again, what does that mean? Does that give us anything about what meekness is? No, it doesn't. It doesn't give us how to be meek, what it is, when to use it, where to use it. It just says that he was meek. And it's like, well, okay, how do I understand what that scripture means? Right? Let's go to Galatians 5:22. Somebody else get Galatians, well, get Galatians 5:22. And let's get a little bit of understanding about, and we've read this many a times with these classes, the fruits of the Spirit, right?
Okay.
But there's a point that I want to hit in here that's going to go along with what is this meekness and how are you supposed to use it? Go ahead, read that.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 22.
Right?
But the fruit of the Spirit is love,
Go ahead.
joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith,
Right. All these different classes we've been touching on, right? Read on.
meekness,
Right?
temperance.
Go ahead.
Against such there is no law.
It says against such there is no law, meaning, well, I'm not going to tell you what it means yet. Read on.
And they that are Hamashiachs
Right?
have crucified the flesh
Right?
with the affections and lusts.
Right? With the affections and with the lust. So these different fruits, they counteract what? The fruits of the Spirit counteract what?
Fruits of the flesh.
The fruits of the flesh. Right? It's a counterbalance. When you read up in Galatians, it gives you all the workings of the flesh. So we know that the fruits of the Spirit are a counterbalance to the fruits of the Spirit are a counterbalance to the fruits of the flesh, right? So he said if you crucify the flesh with the affections and lusts, what's going to happen? Read on.
If we live in the Spirit,
If we do what?
if we live in the Spirit,
Go ahead.
let us also walk in the Spirit.
Let us do what?
Walk in the
So
Spirit.
he said if we live in the Spirit, we also got to walk in it. So what we're understanding is that meekness, faith, love, joy, gentleness, goodness, these are things that you literally have to walk that talk. You got to walk that walk and walk it, what do you say? Walk it like you talk
Walking
it.
like you talk it.
If you talk that you meek, oh, I'm meek, I'm humble, I'm gentle, I'm faithful, I'm charitable, I'm loving, then you got to actually, we know, you got to do these things. These are all action, what is it, a verb?
Yeah.
Action words, right? Things that you have to do, and the way you know whether you're meek is somebody has to see that on you, right? From there, jump up to verse 16,
This I say,
right?
then, walk in the Spirit,
Go ahead.
and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
And just reiterating what 24 says. Read on.
For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit.
Right. There's always this constant battle. There's always this constant war. And one of the battles is the battle to be meek. The battle to be able to endure injury. Because that's what being meek is. Get that definition for me. I'll let you read it since you have it. Hold where you at. What's the definition or the characteristics? Because this does not define what meekness is. It gives you characteristics of meekness. When you look at this definition, it really doesn't define it, but it gives you characteristics of meekness to be able to exemplify what meekness is and to do it. So what you got?
So meek.
And we looked in the 1828 Webster's dictionary. That's where I get all my definitions, mainly.
Kind.
That's where I got this one from. I just cut out the fat and put what's important,
So
What you got?
it says mild of temper.
right? So mild of temper, so being able to control oneself, right? Control your powers, right? What else?
Soft,
Right?
gentle,
Come on.
not easily provoked or irritated,
Very important. Hold on to that part. Not easily provoked or irritated. Go ahead.
yielding,
Yielding. This is another very important part. Yielding. But I'm going to give you more on that because you hear yielding. It's like, well, I'm just supposed to give in to whatever. I'm supposed to yield to whatever. No. Go ahead.
given to forbearance under injury,
Very important. Given to forbearance under injury. Read number 2.
softness of temper,
Uh-huh.
mildness,
Right?
gentleness,
Right?
forbearance under injuries, and provocation.
Provocations. Basically, provocations are when a person speaks in a manner to rile you up.
Kind of.
When a person is egging you on.
They're like poking at
They
you.
poke at you. You're sitting there trying to chill, and they're like they antagonizing you, and they throwing the names out, and they're just poking you, man. Look, I dare you to hit me. I dare you to hit me. I dare you to hit me. See, I ain't touching you, but it's the speech
Kind of.
that can injure an ego and make you want to retaliate, right?
Oh, definitely. That is like, when someone is continuing to poke at you, they're trying to find wherever your red button at.
Right.
Whatever's gonna really just set you off. So it's like, that don't mess with them. Well, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Just to really get you to snap or explode on them.
To lose your temper,
Lose your temper.
right? What's number 3?
Number 3.
So we read that yielding, right? So now what it means by yielding, what does it mean?
Submissive to divine will.
Right, submissive to a divine will. Okay, so these are the different, I like to say, characteristics of meekness. Now, go to Ephesians 4 and verse 1. And actually, before you go there, finish up that Galatians 5:17 for me. Read it from the top. Somebody else get Ephesians 4:1.
For the flesh lusteth against the spirit.
Go ahead.
And the spirit against the flesh.
Right.
And these are contrary the one to the other.
Right, so this is something that we always got to keep in mind. These things are contrary. The flesh wants to act out, wild out, give in. Right? The flesh wants to break a nigga's face. The flesh wants to punch her in the face, kick her in the stomach, kick her down the steps, punch the brother. The flesh wants to do those things. The flesh wants to give in. Right? It wants to feel good. It wants to feel vindicated and justified. Right? And y'all are going to understand what I mean as we go on about being vindicated and justified. The flesh wants to be avenged. The flesh wants to be soothed. Oh, hush, think about it. When you was a baby and you cried, your mom came and she gave you something carnal. Either you needed a change, you needed some food, or you just wanted to be held. Right? But she came and she gave you something carnal because the flesh is looking to be soothed. Excuse me. Go ahead, finish it up.
So that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
Right, so there's a war that is happening so that you won't do the things that you would. There's the good that we want to do, but the flesh prohibits. But does it have to, is the question. Does it have to? Do you have to be prohibited by the temptations of what your flesh wants to jump into? See, as we go through, we'll show if you want to epitomize meekness, then that's what you have to conquer. It's really about conquering the passions, right? Ephesians 4:1.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1.
Right, so now I'm going to go through and just, a few scriptures. Now we could kind of get a little bit more gauge on what was Paul saying in these few little passages. Because we pull them. Walk low, be meek, be this. But really, what does that mean? Well, we know that there's characteristics of meekness: yielding, forbearance under injury, submissive to a divine will. So now read.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1.
Go ahead.
I therefore, the prisoner of the Most High,
Right?
beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called.
Right. So here's Paul putting himself in a meek position. Remember, he yielded to the divine will. What man is going to willingly call himself a prisoner? Or what man is even going to accept that? A lot of us know we're prisoners to Yahweh Shai. we know we're prisoners to this book, no matter how you dice it. No matter what you try to do in life, you try to go out there and do evil, and what happens? Thou shalt not. Thou shalt not.
Yeah.
Thou shalt, the conscience, your conscience starts to play on you, right? So either way, you're a prisoner, no matter what side you stand on. But it's better to just be that willing prisoner, right? Because either way, it's going to come out of you.
God.
Either way, the Most High is going to take it. You see what I'm saying? But why not just do it willingly? Like Paul. Like Paul said, you know what? Paul, why you kick against the pricks? He said, well, he didn't have nothing to say, really. He just followed after that. Paul, why persecutest thou me? You know, and from then on, he had to realize that, wait a minute, the way I'm moving is contrary to the fruits of the Spirit. I'm moving in the flesh, but the fruits of the Spirit are these things. Now remember, who dropped the fruits of the Spirit? What did not Paul write into the Galatians?
Yeah.
So he had to recognize in himself, wait a minute, how am I moving? Before he was blinded and, encountering Yahweh Shai, how was he moving?
Right.
He was moving counterproductive to the Spirit. Right? Read on.
With all lowliness
With all lowliness, go ahead.
and meekness,
Right? That lowliness is about being able to condescend down to men of low estate, to women of low estate, to become all things to all men. Right? Not being, well, because I know certain type of knowledge, now I'm going to crap on you with my knowledge and make you look like you're inferior.
Right.
But really, I'm going to put that to the side, stoop down to your level to bring us both back up.
God.
That's a real strong power to have. And I say this, why? Because knowledge puffeth up. And what is the problem with a lot of men that get knowledge? And even outside the truth. Think about it. They get cocky. They get prideful. They can't be talked
That's a
to.
big one.
They-
Pride.
Pride, right? They can't be corrected.
Yep.
You can't tell them nothing. Oh, I know this and you don't know it, so you're below me, you're beneath me, you're a peasant.
Right.
So that lowliness, go ahead,
and meekness,
and meekness, the ability to yield to a higher will, right? The ability to forbear during injury. And we're going to go through instances in the scriptures. I just want to give you these scriptures so you can now plug them in and say, wait a minute, this is what it means to do this, right? The ability to forbear, not be high-minded, forbear an injury, forbear when someone is persecuting you wrongly with speech.
kind,
Go ahead, what else?
with long suffering,
One of the fruits of the Spirit, long-suffering, right? So not just, I endure for a moment. We went through that, but I was able to endure past what I thought was necessary. Go ahead.
forbearing,
Doing what?
Forbearing,
Doing what?
forbearing,
Go ahead.
one another in love.
Right. The forbearance. Go to Colossians. Keep that word in mind. Forbearing. Go to Colossians 3:12. Right. They get big-headed. Meek. Did you guys spell meekness right? Meekness. Yeah. Yeah. N-E-S-S. Meek. M-E-M-E-E-K. Yeah, y'all spelled it right. Meekness. Right. That's right. Oh.
When I first started,
Oh, did you?
It kind.
Is that the Spirit? Come.
Reading it.
Right? It was the sister next to you. Read Colossians 3, verse 12.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 12.
Read.
Put on therefore.
He said, do what?
Put on therefore.
Read.
As the elect of Yahweh.
Come on.
Holy.
Right?
And beloved.
Right?
Bowels of mercy.
Come on.
Kindness.
Right?
Humbleness.
Right. That lowliness of mind. But listen, I want y'all to hear how Paul's talking. He said to put these things on. So what does that mean? If I can put something on, what does that mean?
Take it off.
I can take it right off. There's your battle. There's your war between the spirit and the flesh, where you were never supposed to have to continually put these things on. You were supposed to wear this as your only garment. This was the only thing you were supposed to wear. You weren't supposed to change out of this, because as soon as you did, you went back into the flesh. You exposed that flesh. So you were supposed to keep on. He said, put on, right? He never said to take off. You never read where he said take off.
Nope.
Mercies of kindness. Mercy, kindness. What else? Humbleness of mind. What else?
Meekness.
Meekness. This was something that you were supposed to, when you put it on and used it, people can see, oh, damn, that's a meek brother. Like Moses. There was a reason why I went to that scripture first, because there was something that was seen in Moses where the Most High had to put that in a verse. That had to be highlighted in a verse, in parentheses.
Yep.
Right? Now, Moses was the meekest man of the earth. That had to be put in parentheses and highlighted, because that's how Moses rocked all the time. He wore that cloak, right? That garment of lowliness, of meekness, of forbearance, of yielding. I'm going to show y'all how, because now we know the what, let's get the how. How did he do these things? And for what purpose is very important, because, and I'm going to get y'all hopefully to understand, why did the Most High say the meek shall inherit the earth? Why did he say the kingdom is for the meek? Well, is it just for the meek? No. But, yes, you have to have this attribute, or else you're going to crap the kingdom off.
Yep.
You're gonna get it and then squander.
Yeah, just like whenever we got out of slavery and we started to rebuild and come back together and get back into Jerusalem, then what? We just went right off again, because we didn't have these. We weren't wearing these things as a continual garment. It was something that we put on long enough so that we can get out of our situation, and then right when we was comfortable, took it right back off.
Just like they went over last night in that joy class in Deuteronomy 32 about Jeshua waxing fat and kicked. The upright one, he wore the meekness, he wore the joy, he wore the long suffering garment for a while. Then he was like, nigga, this ain't benefiting me. I'm done. Right? But Paul is reminding us, he said, put on therefore as the elect of the Most High. Everybody ain't gonna wear these garments. Abadiah.
So when we put on these attributes as a garment, and we get comfortable, because we're not supposed to get comfortable, right?
No.
But these garments, once we start wearing them, and we keep them on, don't we get comfortable having them on?
Only if you're not moving circumspect and seeing what's going on around you, because I'm going to show you where these attributes are always tested. It's up to each man and woman to identify that which one at what time. They're always being tested. It's up to you to see it. It's up to you to rewash that garment in the blood of Christ and say, you know what, because the fruit is supposed to always grow. Remember, the first one that we did was long suffering, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about the fruits abounding more and more, and there wasn't a comfortability, just like joy, right? Yeah, joy. We got comfortable. We waxed fat, we kicked, and then we forsook the Most High and went for a different joy. But see, not everybody falls into that category. You see that? Not everybody forsakes the joy. Not everybody forsakes the long suffering. Not everybody forsakes the meekness or the charity. You see what I'm saying? But as now that we're growing up in the Spirit, remember it said to walk in the Spirit. Put on as the elect. Wear these things, walk in these things, and let these things guide you. Right? It said if you be led of the Spirit, you get eternal life. If you're led of the flesh, what happens? You get death, damnation, right? So there's always a constant buffering in the flesh. There's always a constant, damn, wait a minute, I wasn't being meek. Most High check you. Yep. Right? As soon as you take it off, he hits you. Boom. Pride, charity, love, joy, long suffering. He hits you, and then you gotta let me get up under it, like, let me put my cloak on, right? As soon as you start to peel it off, like, let me relax, he hit, boom, boom, and you go, let me put on my security. Right? But that's only if you're aware of the Most High. A lot of people ain't aware, man. They still move around like they control things. They still move around like it doesn't matter. Like these things aren't necessary. But the ones that are aware, but that's why, read it from the top. Watch this. Read it from the top.
Put on therefore,
right,
as the elect of the Most High.
As the what?
As the elect
So who's going to always recognize?
The elect.
Who's always going to wear these things?
The elect.
It's about the elect, man. The elect is going to wear these things as a garment and not let that garment fall to the ground or forsake that cloak. Let me finish. Read on.
As the elect of the Most High.
Right.
Holy and beloved.
Go ahead.
Bowels of mercy.
Right.
Kindness.
Read.
Humbleness of mind.
Right. Lowliness of mind. Go ahead.
Meekness.
Here it goes again. Meekness. What else?
Long suffering.
Fruits of the Spirit. What else? Verse 13.
Forbearing one another.
Right. So that forbearance of one another. Now, you know, we read this and we're like, well, I could forbear. I forbear all the time. Right? I put up with his or her crap. Right? I put up with the ignorances, and I put up with the misconceptions and the misjudgments if they're there. I forbear. But do you? Do you? We see, even our level of what we think it is to forbear is not on point. So a lot of our meekness, that's why it says we all fall short. A lot of our meekness is not on point as we think it is. He said forbearance, go ahead, one another, read on.
Forbearing one another.
Right.
And forgiving one another.
And forgiving one another. What else, read?
If any man have a quarrel against any.
Right.
Even as Hamashiach forgave you.
Now, who in here has done Yahweh Shai wrong? Now, I want y'all to think about that. Were you there with Yahweh Shai? Putting them up on the cross? Nah, were you Judas? Nah, right? Were y'all there when he was rolling around and he walked up in the city and y'all was like, we don't want to hear that? And he had to dust off his feet and light to the next city? Were we there? But what quarrel does he have with us? Why? Think about it. Read it one more time. Even as what?
Even as Hamashiach forgave you, so also do ye.
Now, think about it. A lot of us forsake the blood. A lot of us have trampled in some way, shape, or form on the blood, on the cross, and we put Yahweh Shai to that open shame.
Right.
And guess what? Guess what? You're still here, able to make amends. So Yahweh Shai forgave us and gave us that opportunity, right?
Right.
So he forbeared. Think about before you got the truth. How ignorant and foolish was I. I was a beast before thee. Right? Think about how much had to be forbeared, how much injury, how much slander, how much things were done. When he said, when Paul said that you're enemies of the cross, we were all enemies of the cross at one point or another. But think about how much damage you done. Think about Paul. Said Paul went through and persecuted the church and killed Jews, right? For what he believed was the right thing. How much injury and persecution? More? Right. How much injury and persecution are we all guilty of? And think about how that had to be. There had to be a forbearance. There had to be a forbearance. There had to be a calmness of temper, a humbleness, a lowliness of mind, for you to even be able to get the truth. Now, I want all of us to think in our different offices, whether it be husband and wife, wife and children, children and children of the same age, children older, younger, and think about how much when you got to deal with a husband and a wife, and when things don't go the way you want them to go, you're ready to write a person off. Right?
John.
You're ready to say, you know what, I call it quits. Or you lose patience with your children. Think about how much you're not forbearing. Now, let's go into the definition of forbearance. Let's see what attributes, because forbearance is an attribute of meekness. Y'all with me? So let's see what the attributes of forbearance are to see, are we forbearing the right way? Are we really up to the par of a man like Moses, David, Yahweh Shai, right? Are we fitting the bill? Because that's important, right? We trying to be like Yahweh Shai. We trying to be like Big Bro. We trying to be like David. We trying to be like Moses. So Do we fit the bill? It's a fair question, right?
Come.
Forbearance, what you got?
So forbearance, the act of avoiding, shunning, or omitting
Right?
either the
Cessation.
or intermission of an act commenced,
Right? Watch, go ahead.
or a withholding from beginning an act.
Right?
Liberty is the power of doing or forbearing an action.
Go down to number 2.
Command of temper,
Command of temper, right? What else?
restraint of passion.
Restraint of your passion. So it kind of sounds like meekness, right?
Come.
It sounds like long suffering, right? Restraint of passions. What else?
The exercise of patience,
Right?
long suffering,
Right?
indulgence towards those.
So the exercise of patience or long suffering, indulgence, go ahead.
towards those
Right.
who injure us.
You see that? Go ahead, watch.
Um,
Leniency,
Lenity,
right?
delay of resentment.
Delay of what?
Resentment.
Now, how many people have a resentment towards anybody?
Oh man.
And I ain't just talking about I don't resent nobody in class, blah blah blah, Skippy. I'm talking about as a whole.
Period.
How many of us have a spirit of resentment on us from the past hurt of your parents? That your big brother did this to you, and now you have a sort of skewed outlook on authority or how things are dealt with. Your boss at this job, the way he dealt with you, now you can't take authority, or you was in the military, whatever it may be. Who doesn't have some sort of resentment? It says resentment.
They call that baggage in the world.
Baggage, right? Yeah, baggage. It says delay of resentment or punishment. Right? Now, one of the key things, restraint of passions and long suffering towards those who injure us. Very important to remember. Meekness is the forbearance to react to a person that injures us, whether physically or even verbally. Right?
Sometimes
How many of us are good at that? What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say sometimes the verbal is more effective or more harmful to you mentally than the physical, because that verbal is just like you get cut or you irritated in some kind of way and you want to react, but can you forbear?
Right. It said the stroke of a tongue breaketh bones.
Come on.
Right. It says what is it? Dang. The words kill.
Sticks and stones.
No,
It's the scripture though.
I was going. It was the scripture, right?
But yeah, along
But
the
sticks and
lines.
stones. But even that, they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's not true, because it tells you life and death are in the power of the tongue. That's the one I wanted. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So words do hurt.
They do.
Right? Now, let's go into it. Let's go to Exodus. Let's deal with Moses. It said Moses was the most meekest man. Well, let's see. Let's see if we match up. Very important, because, again, we might think that, no, I'm meek, I'm mild, I'm calm, I don't lose my temper. But is it just those things? Is it just not losing your temper? Is it just staying in control in a situation? Is it just not reacting? There's a few other things that go along with meekness and forbearance. Is everybody with me so far? Am I going too fast? Perfect. Exodus 16 and verse 2. Let's read.
Exodus chapter 16 and verse 2.
Right?
And the whole congregation
Read.
of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness.
Who do they murmur against?
Moses and Aaron.
Read verse 3. You're going to read down to verse 9. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to Most High we had died by the hand of the Most High in the land of Egypt,
Right?
when we sat by the flesh pots,
Right?
and when we did eat bread to the full, for ye have brought us forth into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
Right. So this is as soon as we got past the Red Sea, Moses lifted up his hands, Most High parted the Red Sea via Moses. Children of Israel, they escaped.
Come.
right? To one side, children of Egypt, they get swallowed up. Barakatah Yahweh, we jumping for joy. We going crazy. We blessing the Most High. We thanking the Lord, right?
Con.
And literally a night later, 10 minutes later, we get hungry. We start feeling the flesh.
Right.
We start feeling the flesh, and what do? Well, we murmur against Moses and Aaron. We start to blame, and we start to bring these provocations up on Moses. Like, look, you brought us here to die, bruh.
Yeah.
You brought us here to die of hunger. You and Aaron, what's y'all's problem? Right? Go ahead.
Then said the Most High unto Moses,
Right.
Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you,
Right?
and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day,
Right?
that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or not.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
Go ahead.
And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel,
Go ahead.
At even, then ye shall know that the Most High have brought you out from the land of Egypt.
Right?
And in the morning, then ye shall see the glory of the Most High.
Read on.
For that he heareth your murmurings against the Most High.
Wait, nah. Moses was like, why y'all niggas talking about me? I heard what y'all had said. You cats is off. Y'all wicked.
Right.
Right? The Most High is going to kill y'all. I'm the anointed. I'm the leader. What did he say? Read it one more time.
For that he heareth your murmurings.
He reminded them. He reminded them that, wait a minute, the Most High hears your murmurings.
Against him.
Against him. Watch. Read on.
Against the Most High.
Right?
And what are we?
Wait, he said what?
And what are we?
Well, surely I'm the high priest, anointed, king of Israel, high priest, ruler.
And what are we?
Surely I'm the one that led y'all out of Egypt and parted the Red Sea, so nigga, put some respect on my name.
And what are we?
He said, what did he do? It said lowliness of mind. He lowered himself, right? And put himself not on the pinnacle and the pedestal like, well, why y'all talking about me? Look at what I did. He said, wait a minute, who am I? Go ahead.
That ye murmur against us.
Right?
And Moses said, This shall be, when the Most High shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the field. For that the Most High heareth your murmurings.
Kept reminding him, the Most High hear your murmurings. Go ahead.
Which ye murmur against him.
Go ahead.
And what are we?
And what?
And what are we?
Well, he had to remind him again, like, who am I? What have I done? Go ahead.
Your murmurings are not against us,
Right?
but against the Most High.
Verse 9.
And Moses said unto Aaron, Say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before the Most High,
Right?
for he hath heard your murmurings.
Right. Let's go. Was that the end of it? Go to Numbers 16 and verse 1. So I'm bringing you through these different scenarios that Moses, these injurious situations that Moses had to deal with. Right? Let's go to Numbers 16 and verse 1. So that's the first. I mean, this is right off the bat. Red Sea parted. We're supposed to be celebrating, happy, and just a little bellyache. And we start to get out the spirit.
You know, when I think about that story, even just right there, we came through with our cattle and our flocks.
Yeah.
So what are they talking about? They just didn't have the seasoning that they wanted?
Lazy. Lazy and looking for somebody to blame.
Con.
Remember when Moses went up on Mount Sinai, the first thing they said was make gods for us. Make a God for us. So we didn't even grasp the concept of being self-sufficient up until this point. Right? So we were going to point the finger, Moses, why you do this? Moses, why you do that? Numbers 16 and verse 1.
Numbers chapter 16 and verse 1. Now Korah, the son of Ezhar,
Right?
the son of Kohath,
Right?
the son of Levi,
Right?
and
Dathan.
Dathan, and Abiram, the sons of Elab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men.
Right?
And they rose up before Moses.
Go ahead.
With certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly,
Right?
famous in the congregation, men of renown.
Go ahead.
And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron.
So these men, they gathered themselves up against Moses and against Aaron. And really, their beef was that Moses appointed Aaron high priest out of favoritism. So they were challenging Moses' authority. They're like, listen, bro. Korah believed that because he was older, because he had a little bit more money, and because he came from a prominent family, he should have been in Aaron's stead.
Okay.
So they brought this up against Moses, right? They bring in these allegations, these provocations. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's also like these weren't just regular guys too.
No, they were actually, it says it, they were
princes. They were
Right.
famous in the congregation.
Right.
Men of renown.
So they had a voice.
Stature. Yeah, they had a voice.
right. Go ahead.
And said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy,
Right.
every one of them, and the Most High is amongst them,
Right.
among them.
Right, go ahead.
Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Most High.
Now Moses could have been like, hell yeah, I'm lifting myself up. Like Mustafa said right here in the comments, he could have pulled his resume.
Yeah.
Right? He could have pulled his pedigree. Like, didn't Paul do it? Paul had to state his registry. Right? Hebrew of Hebrews. Right? Tribe of Benjamin. Stock of Israel. Seed of David. Like, he had to go through it to show, like, listen, if it's about works, I abundant works. If it's about faith, it's unmatched. If it's about zeal, persecuting the church. Paul had to pull his resume. Right? But he did that even as a to show them that if it was about these things, you had no room to glory. Now Moses could have pulled his resume. He could have been like, nigga, I gave up all this for y'all. I left Egypt, right? I left Pharaoh's house. I gave up all these riches, and this how y'all treat me. Think about it. Put yourself in the situation. Wouldn't you want to react? Wouldn't you want to retaliate? Even just verbally? And retaliate in this way. Wouldn't you want to defend yourself? Wouldn't you want to speak up for yourself? Ain't that wrong? I mean, ain't that right? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with speaking up for thyself? I got to speak up for myself because they're putting a bad name on me.
Okay.
Right? Korah and Dathan are putting a bad name on me. They're putting things out there that just ain't true. There's nothing wrong with defending yourself, right? Right?
That's normal reaction.
That's normal reaction. Let's go to Exodus 17 and verse 4. Exodus 17 verse 4. There goes another story.
Exodus chapter 17 and verse 4.
Right?
And Moses cried unto the Most High.
Right. 17 and 1.
And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin.
Right?
After their journeys, according to the commandment of the Most High.
Right?
And pitched and Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink.
Right, because every time they went, they were traveling through this land, there was no water. They're going to get to this place of bitter water. But before that, they're journeying, all their water runs out that they did have.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, the people did chide with
It
Moses.
said the people chide with Moses. What does that mean? To chide. They basically fought back and forth. They argued.
Yeah.
They strove. They brought up accusation on Moses. Go ahead.
And said, Give us water that we may drink.
Right?
And Moses said unto them, Why chide ye with me?
Right? Why are you beefing with me, man? Go ahead.
Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord?
No. Well, why are you beefing with me? Don't you know I got the power to call snakes out on you? Don't you know I parted the Red Sea? What the hell is your problem, bro? You lower than me.
Right.
Surely that's what he said. But he didn't say that. He said, why are you tempting the Lord? Verse 3.
And the people thirsted there for water.
Go ahead.
And the people murmured against Moses.
Right.
And said, Wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt?
Right.
To kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst.
Listen, the people were angry. They more than just murmured. They picked up stones ready to stone and kill Moses. Right? So surely he got all the Levites together. He gathered them up, put stones in their hands, weapons in their hands, and said, we got to defend ourselves. That's exactly what he did, because that's what I would have did. Any sane man in his right mind would have said, oh, wait a minute, you got stones? Let me get a stone too. Right? Or, better yet, he would have already had a stone just in case. Right? He would have already had a stone just in case these dudes try to pop off.
Like, that's why I wear cargo pants.
Right?
So I keep my
So
stones.
I keep my stones on my
If
body.
they pop off, I got stones to throw.
Because the whole time Moses was there looking at the people with a skewed vision, a skewed little side eye, right? Mm-hmm. The whole time he was looking at them like, man, they off. They're not with me. They're not with what I want. Surely that's what happened, right? Read.
And Moses cried unto the Most High,
Right?
saying, what shall I do unto this people?
Right?
They be almost ready to stone me.
They be almost ready to stone me. So let's go into now. So remember what happened in number 16, right? In number 16, they murmured against Moses because they were hungry. Right. So let's go into the Josephus and let's look at Moses' response to the murmurings. And let's see if that lines up with our thought process.
Come.
Right? So we're at book. You got it?
Yeah, we're in the Josephus. We're at book 2.
Book 4, chapter 2.
Book 4, chapter 2, section 4.
Right. This is the Blue Josephus. Remember Josephus? He's an Israelite historian. It's a reference book. It's not the Bible. It's just a reference. Okay?
Where again?
Book 4, chapter 2, section 4, page
103.
103 in the blue one. Read where you at.
Come. Now, although Moses had a great while ago foreseen this calumny,
Which is defamation or slander. It's saying that Moses, he had seen this afar off, right? He was already peeping Korah and Dathan, because it's going into Korah and Dathan. Right? He already seen, like, wait a minute, there's something off about them. He's probably seen them making their little rounds 10 to 10 and trying to pull people towards them.
yeah, politicking,
Politicking, right? Mm-hmm. So he said he's seen it afar off. Go ahead.
of Korah, and had seen that the people were irritated.
Right?
Yet he was not affrighted at it.
Nah, man. He ran up on Korah, smacked him. Nigga, get in line. I'm the man. What's your problem?
Yet he was not affrighted at it.
He threatened them. Listen, if you don't chill out with the slander, it's gonna be a problem between me and you.
Yet he was not affrighted with
He
it.
said he wasn't frightened, meaning he didn't let the normal passions. Remember, one of the definitions of forbearance is restraint of passion. Some of us are too passionate to want to retaliate.
Emotional.
Some of us are too passionate to want to justify or get vindication or justification for when you feel like you've been wronged. Or, man, he took a piece of my dignity, or he wronged me, or he injured my ego, or I can't believe she did that to me. I have to get vindication. On sight. Right? On sight. Who used to say that? Bernie Mac. He said, on sight, I'm going to bust his head to the white meat. Right? But ain't that how our people roll? Like, if I see this cat on sight, it's on. Right? On sight. That was a saying. Like, pull up. Right? A few years ago, it was on site. That was like the 90s, right?
That's funny. That happened in the mall, man.
Right?
That happened in the mall. Dude was getting his hair cut at the Visible Changes.
Oh, man, stop.
He seen,
Stop. You are not a tough guy in Visible Changes. Go ahead. Get your cut at the hair club. Go ahead.
he seen this other dude walking through. I guess they had some kind of beef. Dude hopped up out of his chair, ran out the Visible Changes. It was like, I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna kill him.
With half his hair, with his whole hair wet. And you know how they cut it while it's wet? Yeah. You're not a killer in Visible Changes, man.
Look,
That's hilarious.
only reason why I know that count because the dude that was trying to whoop the other dude's tail, the dude, he went by the jury kiosk and grabbed the mirror off the jury kiosk and hit dude over the head with it. Dude ran into the Yankee Candle, and they was like running around the Yankee Candle like kids.
Hey,
And the dude ran out and got away. But yeah,
On site.
on site.
He gave in. Whatever was going on with them men, he gave in to the normal passions. He gave in to that, right? He just let himself go. There was no forbearance. There was no restraint. There was no level of meekness. Right? Go ahead.
But being of good courage.
But being of what?
Good courage.
Well, go ahead.
Because he had given them right advice about their affairs.
Right? Go ahead.
And knowing that his brother had been made partaker of the priesthood at the commandment of the Most High.
Right, because again, Korah and Dathan, they were upset that and feeling that Moses wrongly gave Aaron the priesthood. Like, he gave it to Aaron out of just, that's my brother, I'm going to give him the priesthood. Moses checked him. He was like, bro, there's nobody closer to kin than myself. So why would I overlook my own self to give it to someone else, right? But it said that he was, what about the information? He had given them the right advice about their affairs. Now, where did that advice come from? We know from the Most High, right? Go ahead.
And not by his own favor to him.
Right, and knowing that his brother had been made partaker of the priesthood at the command of the Most High. So Moses knew these things. Moses knew these things. Who knows the story of Korah and Dathan? What happens next? Before the earthquake.
They do like an uprising.
Yeah, they tried to get the people to side with them, just based on Korah tried to plead his case.
Right.
Like, but I'm this, I got this, I'm smart, I'm wealthy, I'm all this to try to win the people over to his side so they would actually revolt against Moses and Aaron.
Right. Now, Moses knew that the Most High anointed Aaron. Moses knew that the information that the Most High gave him was accurate to give to the people. Moses knew that, okay, I'm rocking for the Most High. Let's see what happens. Let's go back to Numbers 16 and verse 4. Numbers 16 and verse 4. We're going to really get an idea of what is this meekness and forbearance. Go ahead.
Numbers chapter 16 and verse 4. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face.
Right. When he heard these things from Korah and David, he did what?
He fell upon his face.
And what did he do? Read.
And he spake unto Korah,
right,
and unto all his company,
right,
saying, even tomorrow,
right,
the Most High will show who are his.
He said, listen, man, the Most High is going to show who he is. This is what you got to do. Read on.
And who is holy.
Right. He's going to show who has been chosen. Let the Most High sort it out. Not, oh, well, let's have a duel, let's have a match, let's argue about it, let's debate, let's get mad, let's have feelings, let's argue, let's grudge. Let me go talk bad about you to the next man in my tent. Right? He said, listen, if you really have a beef, then let's let the Most High sort it out. I'm not going to retaliate. I'm not going to talk bad about you. Go ahead.
And will cause him to come near unto him.
Right.
Even him who he had chosen, which cause to come near unto him.
And we know that as you read down, the next day, it said every man filled up his censer. Right? They all stood there. Korah and his 250, Moses and the people. And the earth opened up and swallowed up who wasn't approved. Now think about that. Really, what did Moses have to do with that?
Well, he just had to let the Most High defend him and fight his battle.
He just had to be convinced in his own mind that what he was doing was the will of the Most High.
That's right.
That and I'm trying to intertwine all these different ideas from this definition that he was doing the divine will of the Most High that he was commanded to do, which was lead the people to wherever they had to be, whether there was food, water, trees, fruit, weapons, whatever it was. Most High said, go this way, right? I'm going to take you this way. There's no food and water. That's not on me. But I am doing the will of the Most High. Now, you can beef with me or we can deal with the Most High, right? Now, Korah and Dathan, they didn't want to deal with the Most High. They wanted to deal in their passions. They want to deal in their passions and do that back and forth and rouse up men. They want to walk outside the spirit. Remember, put ye on as the elect of the Most High, mercy, compassion, meekness, long-suffering. Moses carried this around. He walked with this. Korah and Dathan, they didn't. They did for a moment until they saw an occasion. Oh, wait a minute. Let's get the people on our side. But we see their downfall, right?
There's a question on that.
What's the question?
Did Moses see all this was going to happen because the Most High had shown him?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Even at this time, he hadn't even been up to Sinai yet.
Right.
He hadn't even been up to Sinai yet, if I'm not mistaken. Passover, right? He did not. Yeah, no. This wasn't shown to him. Like, this wasn't shown to him that they were going to uprise. This wasn't shown, and it didn't have to be. Didn't have to be because Moses operated a certain way. He didn't have to do what a lot of Israelites do, which is I'm meek in one spot and then I'm not meek somewhere else. I'm going to present myself as meek and forbearing and humble around who's looking or who I think I need to eye service. But where it really counts, I'm going to be a nigga. So he didn't have to fake the front, man. He just relied on the Most High. It said that he was not affrighted at what Korah and Dathan were doing. Think about it. They were jousting for his position. Think about when you had a job and the boss hear that somebody's coming for his job. He start doing what? He start pulling them files, right? He start pulling them dossiers on cats, and he start making sure that all the negatives are exemplified.
Yeah.
You start looking for your shortcomings. Did Moses do that to Korah and Dathan? Did he go back and forth? Well, Korah, 10 years ago, Korah was child molesting, or he was doing this, or he was doing that. Did he do that? Nah. He just said, listen, go get a censer, stand over here, I'll stand over here, and we'll see what the Most High does. Most High cracked that earth, and he fell into it. You want to meet your maker? You about to meet him. You want to be with the Most High? He said, you're going to make you close to him, right? They got closer than ever. They got exactly what they wanted. Right? So let's go from there. Let's see what Moses' response was in Numbers 17 when go to Josephus. We're going to stay in the Josephus. Let's see what his response was in Numbers. Number 17 was about what? When they were thirsty, right? When they were journeying and they were thirsty. Let's see what happened. Let's see how Moses dealt with the murmurings and the facing death, right? Let's see how he dealt with it. And we're getting to understand Moses was the meekest man. Why? Well, we're seeing the situations that he was put in, that we're all put in, and how he handled it. That's very important.
Yes, sir.
I've been talking to brothers lately, and for some reason it keeps coming up about experience. Experience is the greatest teacher. Whether it be your own first hand, or if you sit next to a cat and get second hand. It's the greatest experience. Now, it's the greatest teacher. Now, when we read the Bible, are we not getting secondhand experience? Right? It ain't first hand because we weren't there.
Right.
But we are seeing is the experiences of our forefathers. Which way they went. Whether David slept with Bathsheba and messed up, came back and repented, we got that experience. Whether Solomon was a 40-year greatest king and then came back and served other gods, we get that experience. We're experiencing things on both ends from, even Job, what he went through from being rich, family, wife, to being broke, boils on his body. We got that experience. So all we get through the scriptures is the experience of these men. So it's important to now replace them with you, because you've been in these situations. Niggas done been talked about you. And what did you do? You went and got your gun. You went and wanted to fight. You wanted to pull up. You wanted to, again, vindicate and avenge yourself. You wanted blood. You wanted blood, man. You wanted somebody to be in trouble for what they did. Somebody got to pay, right? Reparations is due. Somebody got to pay, man. Read in Josephus, book 3, chapter 1, section 4. Oh, yep, got it highlighted.
But as for Moses himself, while the multitude were irritated and bitterly set against him.
Not just, but they were ready to stone him. They picked up stones. When you read up, they literally had stones ready to hoist. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
He cheerfully relied on the Most High.
He did what?
He cheerfully relied on the Most High.
He relied on the Most High, man. He did not let himself fall to the normal lust of, let me defend myself. Let me make myself look good in your eyes. Let me justify myself. Go ahead.
And upon his consciousness of the care he had taken of these his own people.
All he did was go back to, wait a minute. I got you out of Egypt. Mm-hmm. And not just me, but Bahashem Yahweh Shai and the Most High. The Most High used me as a vessel to do these things. So I know my intent towards you is not to make you die of thirst, starve, die in the wilderness, let your kids get eaten up by wolves. The intent was to get you out of a worse condition, not to bring you out of worse to worse. Right. So he had to rely on his good conscience towards what he was doing. Very important. Go ahead.
And he came into the midst of them.
Right.
Even while they clamored against him.
Read.
And had stones in their hands in order to dispatch him.
Right. Think about that. Standing bold. It said the righteous stand bold as a lion. The wicked flee when no man pursue it, but the righteous stand bold as a lion. He stood in the midst of them, right in the middle of them. And think about it. If one, you already know how that knee-jerk reaction, if one throws, then they all throw. Yeah. Just like if one cop shoots, the whole department unloads. Right? He knew that, but was he fearful? Was he going to justify himself? Well, let's see. Read on.
Now he was of an agreeable presence.
Right.
And very able to persuade the people by his speech.
Go ahead.
Accordingly, he began to mitigate their anger.
Meaning what?
Listen.
He lessened their anger, but how? Did he have to go in there angry like, you niggas is off, drop your stones, what the hell's your problem, brother? Or did he have to go in there with lowliness of mind? Right? Condescending to men of low estate. He had to condescend to their anger. He had to say, wait a minute, okay, I see that you're upset. Let's talk about it a little bit, right? Let's see what's really going on. Let's see. I get it. I know. He had to become all things to all men. Paul wasn't the first man to do that. He wasn't the first man to have to mitigate anger. Yahweh Shai wasn't the first. Like, Moses had to do it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And exhorted them not to be over mindful of their present adversities.
Right.
Lest they should thereby suffer the benefits that had formerly been bestowed on them to slip out of the memories.
Right. So he was reminding them, man, look how far we've gotten. Look how far the Most High has taken us. Don't retaliate now carnally and lose the blessings and end up back in Egypt. That's what he was reminding them. Look, you just got out of Egypt. Slavery, 10-day work week, bestiality, homosexuality, all the alities, right? Yeah, and now the Most High is promising us this promised land. Listen, don't act the way the mind is telling you to act. Let's walk in the spirit. Go ahead.
And he desired them by no means,
right,
on account of their present uneasiness, to cast those great and wonderful favors and gifts which they had obtained of the Most High,
right,
out of their minds.
Right. So he had to remind them that, listen, the Most High is in control here. Go ahead.
But to expect deliverance out of those their present troubles.
Read.
Which they could not free themselves from.
Right.
And this by the means of that divine providence which watched over them, seeing it
right.
is.
So, looking at how Moses dealt with situations, think about it. You got a couple of hundred people ready to stone you. You gonna stand up in the middle of them and even give them a chance? Now, I'm not saying to walk into a midst of men getting ready to stone you, because it's hard to tar niggas down or walk into the middle of a shootout. I'm not saying that. Let's use wisdom, right? But he didn't. My point that I'm trying to show is that You ever try to justify yourself and you make the problem worse? And all it does is turn into more of an argument, more yelling, more screaming, and then you get the result of what you were trying to avoid anyway? Right. Think about that. See, true meekness is understanding that this person is in whatever mind they're in. I can't change the way I am because of what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? Like, and as we go, I can't render the evil for the evil, the railing for the railing. I can't let myself become what I'm trying to fight against. I have to stand my ground and be what I am for the Most High, which is whatever you are, whether it be a teacher, whether it be a leader, whether it be a spokesman, whether it be a guide, whatever you are for the Most High, you have to continue to be that through every circumstance and not let the circumstance determine whether or not you do your job. You see that? So again, when we look at this meekness, the characteristics and the concepts that the Bible provides us of meekness, got to ask ourselves, do we match up? Do we match up to the standard that's been given to us? Let's read about David. Let's go to 1 Samuel 26 and verse 10. 26 and verse 1. Let's read about David. David was also a meek man. Very meek, very humble. Let's read that. 1 Samuel 26 and verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 1.
Now, we know that Saul tried to kill David a handful of times, right? Tried to hit him he tried to hit him with the javelin when he was playing the harp in the early days. Sent him off to go be killed by the Philistines, and a few other occasions where Saul really just tried to kill David. So we know that David is running from Saul, right? He's on the run a few years, trying to avoid this wrongful death. And we know there's certain of occasions. There was actually 2 occasions where David had the chance to eradicate that problem, right? Where he could just free himself of being hunted. Now, I'm wording it like that because it wasn't about, let me get rid of Saul. It was about, well, let me get rid of this problem. And most of us, what are we going to say?
No, I was just thinking like, you're probably about to say it. Mm-hmm. Most of us, it's like, if someone's trying to kill you, and it's your life on the line, wouldn't you rather get him first?
Dog eat dog.
Before he gets you?
Dog eat dog world, right?
Yeah, he could have been like that.
Or any problem, you always try to be ahead of the curve, right? Let me get rid of this problem, no matter what it is. Right. No matter whose expense. Let's read.
1 Samuel chapter 26 and verse 1.
Come on.
And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah,
right,
which is before Jeshimon?
Right.
Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him.
Right, so Saul had 3,000 men. Go ahead.
To seek David.
Wait, to do what?
To seek David.
So Saul had 3,000 men to seek out one. This is how much of a vendetta Saul had against David. He didn't even do the things one-on-one, man. He had 3,000 men. He was not trying to let David escape. We know that the intent was to dispatch David. Read on.
To seek David in the wilderness of Ziph.
Right.
And Saul pitched in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon. By the way, but David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness.
Go ahead.
David therefore sent out spies, and understood that Saul was come in very deed. And David arose, and came to the place where Saul had pitched, and David beheld the place where Saul lay.
So David sent out spies at the night. Where is they setting up camp at? Spy it out. They come back, they let David know. Okay, they sleeping, this is where they camping. So David, he pulled up, right? He pulled up. Saul was on site, David pulled up, right? On site. Go ahead.
And Abner the son of Ner,
right,
the captain of his host,
right,
and Saul lay in the trench.
Right.
and the people pitched round about him.
Go ahead.
Then answered David.
So Saul lay, and he had all his men around him, protecting the king. He was a king, right? Only a smart thing to do. Go ahead.
Then answered David and said to Amalek the Hittite and to Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, brother to Joab,
right,
saying, who will go down with me to Saul to the camp?
Right.
And Abishai said, I will go down with thee.
Read.
So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping within the trench, and his spear stuck in the ground at his bolster. But Abner and the people lay round about him. Then said Abishai to David, the Most High have delivered thine enemy into thine hand this day.
Right, so here's Abner. This is David's general. He like, man, the Most High delivered Saul to you. He delivered your enemy, right? Now, take it back to your gangbanging days. Take it back to when you was a killer, a drug dealer, dope dealer, all that. When you had an enemy in the sights, or just even when you watch your little movies and shows, they tell you, you don't get a second chance to take out an enemy. If a cat's coming for you, you ain't got to if you got him in the crosshairs, take that shot because you're not going to get a second chance. Right? That's been the principles of life for the longest. Right? What's up?
In Spanish, we say tumbao.
Okay, meaning what?
Well,
Meaning-
altogether says tumbao el cantón, means we're going to drop the house. So even all this right here is like,
Yeah,
tumbao.
when we hit, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Right? We ain't going to give it a chance. Like, that whole thing is going to collapse.
Yeah.
Nothing is coming out that house, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now therefore,
Now, again, those are the passions. Those are the passions of man. Those are the passions of the flesh. Right? Those are the things that the flesh wants. Again, revenge, vindication. Right? Go ahead.
now therefore, let me smite him, I pray thee, with the spear, even to the earth at once.
Right? So Abishai was like, listen, David, I got this. Right? I got it. You ain't even got to have this blood on your hands.
Right.
I'll hit him one time, and I won't even have to hit him twice. He'll go out painless. Right? I'll be merciful. Read.
And I will not smite him the second time.
Right?
And David said to Abishai, destroy him not.
Right?
For he can stretch forth his hand against the Most High's anointed.
Right. He said, because what?
For who can stretch forth his hand against the Most High's anointed?
Right.
And be guiltless.
And be what?
And be guiltless.
Go ahead.
David said furthermore, as the Most High liveth, the Most High shall smite him.
Now, who in here has been almost attempted murdered on? Who in here has been shot at? Who in here has been people are actually raising their hands. Damn. Stabbed to death, like somebody trying to run at you with a knife and try to kill you.
Yeah.
Experience.
Right. Who's experienced someone literally trying to take your life? Well, hands went up. We got some killers in the building. or some people that's trying to get killed, right? But so you have experienced that. Now take yourself back. Cause ain't nobody in that right now, right? We're far removed from that lifestyle, right? That old man is dead. But I want you to tap back into those emotions when you went into flight or fight, kill or be killed. And think about it. You might have got bucked out from down the block and you knew who did it. And you was like, man, when I see this cat, it's a wrap, son, right?
On sight.
On sight, right? Because cats is busting from down the block, missing, hitting cars, and missing you. And you're like, oh, this dude trying to kill me. So now I got to go get him.
Shoot sideways.
Because he was shooting sideways. And when the gunshot, it went up, and the bullets went in the air. He was hitting clouds, right? No good aim. But you still took it a certain way. And it hit your spirit a certain way. Like, dang, I got to now. It's no longer I got to avenge myself. It's really I got to protect myself, right? There's a level of defense that goes up that says I have to protect me. And I got to take this cat out before he gets to me. Right? And that's how we trick ourselves. I got to defend myself. Right? So I want you to go back to this mind, whoever was ever in these situations. Go ahead. And now you can get a better grasp of what David was dealing with. David was like, damn, I'm trying to defend myself. I'm trying to run. Right? I'm running from city to city, and this dude is hunting me with men for what? 7 years? Was it 7 years?
Or something like that.
Well, he'll look. I think it was about 7 years that David was being hunted by Saul. Right? So that ain't no light work.
Nah.
To be on the run from the king at that. It wasn't like a regular dude, it was the king. So 7 years, you get the chance to put this to have to stop being on guard and on the defense and stop running. What do? Do you let the passion of your emotions overtake you? Or do you let compassion overtake you? Read on.
As the Most High liveth, the Most High shall smite him.
Right? He said, wait, what?
As the Most High liveth,
Read.
the Most High shall smite him.
He said the Most High gonna get him. Just like Moses. Not being scared.
Right.
Not forgetting the divine will. That, wait a minute, I'm not here to kill this man. I'm going to send him a reminder. Right? I'm going to take his water canteen and his staff. Yell from the mountain and show him that he ain't as on point as he thinks he is. Because that's what happened. He yelled from the mountain to Abner. Abner was like, whoa, what happened? Wait a minute, we let him get this close to the king. We slacking.
Right.
So he was letting David know, look, you can't be touched.
Right.
Right? If the Most High will.
Right.
But he said it. Read it one more time.
As the Lord liveth,
Right?
the Most High shall smite him.
Read.
Or his day shall come to die.
Or the Most High is going to kill him. His day will come to die. What else?
Or he shall descend into battle,
Right.
and perish.
Go ahead.
The Most High forbid.
The what?
The Most High forbid.
So here was David in his level of meekness, giving in to a more divine will than his own. Giving in more into forbearance rather than passion.
God.
Walking in the spirit and not walking in the flesh.
God.
Putting on, right, as the elect of the Most High, the compassion, because it said the vows of compassion, meekness, charity, right? Forbearance for one another. Go ahead, finish it up, and then Obadiah.
The Most High forbid that I should stretch forth my hand against the Most High's anointed.
Right?
But I pray thee, take thou now the spear that is at his boasting,
Right?
and the cruse of water,
Uh-huh.
and let us go.
So he took his little spear, his little water bottle, and was like, I got some trinkets, right? You can be touched. Let's go over to Obadiah. You had something?
No, I was just going to reiterate what you just literally said, that he was definitely in the spirit, because Abishai, that was his first inclination.
Wipe him out.
Take him
The
out.
Most High delivered him. David was like,
Yeah. And David, that wasn't even David's thought. David's thought was the opposite, to just let the Most High deal with it.
how could I be justified to do this when the Most High didn't grant me this? This wasn't the will.
David also called how Saul was going to die. Like, or he shall descend into battle and perish.
Right. What he was saying was the way Saul is going to die is going to be by the hands of the Most High. He's going to die in battle, or he's just going to die of a natural cause. So he said he has to die that way. It's not going to be by my hands.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So he did call it.
He called it.
He did call it in a roundabout
way. Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Let's go to 1 Samuel 24:1. 1 Samuel 24:1. Somebody get that. And we got to read it quick. We're going to read down to verse 19. Actually, 1 Samuel 24, read verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 24 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Saul was returned from following the Philistines,
Right?
that it was told him, saying, Behold, David is in the wilderness of En-Gedi.
Right?
Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men
Right?
out of all of Israel,
Right?
and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats.
Right, because that's where he was at. So this is another instance. This ain't the same one. Another instance. He heard where David was. Let's go find him. This is before the last instance. I just kind of flip-flop them around. Right? Let's go to verse... Read on.
And he came to the sheepcotes by the way, where was a cave.
Right.
And Saul went in to cover his feet.
Right.
And David and his men remained in the sides of the cave.
Go ahead.
And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day of which the Most High said unto thee, Behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thine hand.
Come on.
That thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee.
Right. See that? Do unto your enemy whatever seems good in your eyes. Whatever your passions allow. Right?
Right.
This is what his men were advising him. Now, I mean, was it wrong?
No.
Was it wrong? Because we see in other instances, David, I mean, the dude that said that he killed Saul, David did what to him?
Killed him.
David killed him, right? The one that killed Saul's grandson, David did what to him? Killed him, right? We see that David was a killer, right? David was a killer. He didn't play. And he didn't play behind you putting your hands on the Most High's anointed. But, so it wasn't a thought, it wasn't a far-fetched thought that, oh, David just let everybody go and he just didn't stand for justice. He stood for justice. But he knew what justice was his and what justice wasn't. Just like Nabal.
Oh, yeah.
Nabal should have been wiped out. David was on the way to kill everything that pissed against the wall, right? And David was reasoned with, right? He was by Abigail to not take Nabal out. And what did she say? Let the Most High deal with him. That resonated with a righteous man. That resonated with a man of meekness to fall back and say, wait a minute. Yeah, the Most High does got to deal with this. See, that's where we got to get better. We got to get better at not getting so agitated and irritated when the appearance of injury or they talking bad about me or they saying this or they saying that, like a lot of grown men he said this irritate them to the point where now I gotta go do a whole Facebook video about the brother. I gotta do a whole Facebook live and defend my stance because the brother said this about me and he accused this and he accused that. Sometimes the best defense is to shut up. Right? What it say suffer wrongfully, right? The scriptures say suffer wrongfully.
Right.
And then even in that, the Most High comes back and he reveals what needs to be revealed and he justifies, right? Read on.
Then David arose.
It's like
You're at verse 4.
4. You want to read from the top, sir?
Read verse 4, yep.
And the man of David said unto him, Behold, the day in which the Most High said unto you, Behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thy hand, that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee.
Right.
Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul's robe privily.
Right, because Saul was in the cave, feet hanging out. David was in the cliffs kicking it. Right? Cut the skirt of his garment. Go ahead.
And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Saul's skirt.
Yeah, because he knew that he wasn't justified to even do that. He wasn't justified or qualified to even destroy the garment that the man wore. Think about how cold that is.
Meekness right there.
Read on.
And he said unto his man, The Most High forbid that I should do this thing unto my master.
Unto my what?
Unto my master.
But Saul was a killer.
My master.
But Saul was a murderer.
My master.
But Saul hated David.
My master.
Wait, but he still had enough respect to call him his what?
My master.
Read.
The Most High's anointed.
Read.
To stretch forth my hand against him.
See, Saul's vision was never skewed because of the situation. It was never taken out of his mind that, wait a minute, Saul was a less than what the Most High made him because of what Saul was doing. Sometimes we look at men and what they do, and we title them, we retitle them, right?
Right.
And yes, we do look at what men do and we say, okay, well, this man is doing such and such and such. We either pull him close or we kind of push him away, right? We check him, we do those things. I'm not saying that we don't stand up for justice, but even David wasn't ready to cast Saul to the dogs and treat him less than a brother, right? Because of the way Saul was moving. Still recognized him as a brother. He still recognized him as what was Saul at the moment?
Okay.
was king.
The king of Israel.
Anointed king.
He was the anointed king. Like, he couldn't take that from him through any situation. How could you take away what the Most High gives somebody? But see, the problem with men is you have younger men that will look at older men going through their battle, and you'll try to take that elder man or elder sister's, if you want to say title, or you'll try to diminish their title or what they are because of how they move.
Right.
It's up to the Most High to move them out the way, because He will. He ain't gonna let wickedness reign,
No, sir.
right? It said the kingdom won't be established, the throne won't be established on wickedness. So we know that Saul was for a season, but see, there's your long suffering. You think David wasn't like, God damn, year 1, Jesus, year 2, what the hell, year 3, bro? He was crying in Psalms, like, bro,
Yeah.
let up off me, right? Like, enough is enough. But then he had to come back. Well, whatever the Most High will. Year 4, wow. Year 5, year 6, year 7. Damn, I got him in the crosshairs. I could eradicate this problem. Nope, it ain't up to me. 3 or 4 times, it ain't up to me.
Completion.
Right? So, all these different, now you're seeing how the different fruits of the Spirit, the long suffering, the love, the charity, the gentleness, the meekness, how they all go hand in hand, and these are how they're supposed to be used. Finish it up. Read on.
Seeing he is the anointed of the Most High.
Right?
So David stayed his servants with these words.
Right?
And suffered them not to rise against Saul.
Because they were ready. Go ahead.
But Saul rose up out of the cave and went on his way.
And didn't even know. Now check this out. Read.
David also arose afterward and went out of the cave and cried after Saul.
So David gave himself up. Because Saul didn't know David was there. David gave himself up. Go ahead.
Saying, my lord the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David stopped with his face to the earth.
Right?
And bowed himself.
Come on.
And David said unto Saul, wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, behold, David seeketh thy hurt.
Come on.
Behold, this day thy eyes have seen how that the Most High hath delivered thee today into my hand in the cave. And some bade me kill thee.
Yeah, he said, listen, the Most High delivered you up. And some are telling me to kill you. Go ahead.
But my eyes spared thee.
Read.
And I said, I will not put forth my hand against my Lord.
Come on.
For he is the Most High's anointed.
Right. He had to lower his mind. Now, David knew that he was next up. Think about knowing that you were the next king. Wouldn't you just get the current nigga out of there? And then come back and be like, well, he was wicked anyway. Wouldn't David have been justified? Like, well, he was wicked. Damn, David, why you kill Saul like that? Well, remember, he was wicked. Remember the things that he did. Remember, the Most High stopped dealing with him years ago.
He was a terrorist.
He was right. Remember the class we went through about Saul, the treachery of Saul? And after Saul went in and disobeyed the Most High's commandment to kill the Amalekites, it said from that point on, Saul received no more visions from the Most High.
Wow.
Listen, you're talking about years later, Saul is still in power. David could have been justified to get him out of there, and the people would have probably been happy.
Right.
How come he didn't do it? Wasn't up to him. He had to lower his mind, lower his passions, long suffer through the situation the right way. The right way. How many times you get what you want delivered up to you and it ain't the right way? And you fall into that passion. And then you, like, man, I thought I was doing the right thing, right?
Right.
But no, were you? Did you still have the choice to fall into the passion or not? David had the choice to go with his mind or go with what he knew the Most High's will was. We know the will of the Most High. You feel it. The will of the Most High ain't just some thing. Like faith ain't just some thing. Like meekness, it ain't just some thing. It's something that you know. It's that right from wrong. It's that conviction of your spirit when you go against it. You feel it. Read on.
Moreover, my father, see the skirt of thy robe in my hand.
Right.
For in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe.
Right.
And killed thee not. Know thou, and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in my hand.
Right, and he's showing like it would have been an evil thing for him to kill David. He knew it in his spirit. Go ahead.
And I have not sinned against thee.
Right?
Yet thou huntest my soul to take it.
Man, and who wouldn't want to just be loosed of that?
God.
Said you hunt my, not just my flesh, you hunted my soul, dog. You're trying to take my spirit away. Go ahead.
The Most High judge between me and thee.
Right? Wait, the what?
The Most High judge between me and thee.
See, this was David again, just like Moses. Like when Moses told Korah and Dathan, you get your censers and stand over here. Who's with me, stand over here. Right? And what happened? They got swallowed up. Moses didn't. He said the Most High is going to judge between me and you. Go ahead.
And the Most High avenge me of thee.
Wait, he does what?
Avenge me of thee.
Read on.
But my hand shall not be upon thee.
Come on.
As saith the proverb of the ancients.
Read.
Wickedness proceedeth from the wickedness.
Because meekness is not about railing for railing, evil for evil. And I mean that in this. Person talk bad about you, you let it roll off your back, but then you talk bad about them. Did you really let it roll off your back? Did you really let the Most High vindicate you? No, because you shouldn't even open up your mouth. You should have just been like, oh well, comes with the territory, right? Especially if you know what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, you know how many you hop on Facebook and you see slanderous talk against people that are not a part of certain schools. Y'all, you ain't down with the school, you fake Christian, and something bubbles in you that wants to retaliate and be like, bro, go to this. But it's like, you know what? Let them talk. Let them talk and let the Most High judge. And then you'll hear down the line, somebody died in that camp. Somebody got arrested. Somebody got stabbed over in that camp. Somebody got locked up for fraud in that camp. Somebody died of COVID in this camp. Like, the Most High starts to judge. And he starts to let all that slander that they shoot out, he starts to judge off that.
Your own wickedness will correct.
Your own wickedness. He's not mocked. Right? But now if you start getting into the joust, the back and forth, the battle of wills, it's really not a battle of the will, it's a battle of foolishness. And doing the back and forth in any circumstance, you no longer pave that way for the Most High to do anything for you. I'm a big proponent of shutting the hell up and letting the Most High do his work. Let the Most High. Now, does that mean we don't tell brothers? Of course not. Does that mean that we don't teach and continue to do the Watchman Ezekiel thing? Of course we do that. Oh yeah. But and as we go, let's finish this so we can get to the next part. Go ahead.
Wickedness proceeded from the wicked.
Right.
But my hand shall not be upon thee.
Go ahead.
After whom is the king of Israel come out?
Right, now check this out. Read.
After whom dost thou pursue? After a dead dog.
After a what?
After a dead dog.
What did David call himself?
A dead dog.
He said, who does the king of Israel pursue? Like, bruh, you coming after a dead dog. I'm nothing. Now, David could have been like, nigga, I slayed Goliath. I saved us from the Philistines. I slayed my 10,000s of 10,000. I killed more men than you, Saul. What the hell's your problem, brother? Get in line. Could he not have?
He could have, yeah.
Who else wouldn't have just stated their whole registry once again and dropped their whole resume to try to justify why are you trying to hurt me when I'm greater than you? I'm greater than now. Bow down, right? Bow down to something that's greater than you. David was greater than Saul. Saul knew it. Samuel told Saul, I'm gonna get a neighbor of yours that's gonna rule Israel that's better than you. He knew it was David. That's why he hated him so much. David could have hit him with that same sentiment, but he didn't. He said, I'm a dog. Go ahead.
After a flea.
I'm a flea. Jacob, oh Jacob, thou worm. Right? We are nothing. He kept that lowliness of mind. Right? Go ahead.
The Most High therefore be judge.
Right?
And judge between me and thee.
Right?
And see. And plead my cause.
Right?
And deliver me out of thine hand.
Read.
And it came to pass, When David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, "Is this thy voice, my son David?"
Right?
And Saul lifted up his voice and wept.
Go ahead.
And
He
he said,
think about it. He brought Saul right into his right mind for a moment. He brought him back into his right mind. He was like, wait a minute, is this my son David? Wait, you supposed to be on the, I'm trying to kill you. How come you're not trying to kill me? Is this your voice? Like, were you talking to me? Go ahead.
And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. And he said to David, "Thou art more righteous than I."
Now, how much battle did David have to go through to get that response? How much fighting did he have? All he had to do was avoid evil, avoid danger, let the Most High work.
Right.
And Saul had to come to his right mind.
Right.
Y'all gonna see where I'm going. Watch, read on.
For thou hast rewarded me good,
Right?
whereas I have rewarded thee evil.
Right, because it said if your enemy hunger, if your enemy thirst, you do what? You give him food and drink. It'd be like coals heaping on top of his head.
Gone.
Right? Watch, read on.
And thou hast showed this day how that thou hast dealt well with me, for as much as when the Most High had delivered me into thy hand,
Right?
thou killedest me not.
Right?
For if a man find his enemy, will he let him go well away?
No, not a nigga out the spirit. A nigga out the spirit is going to find his enemy and kill him.
On site.
A man, a woman out the spirit is going to find and fall to their passion.
Right.
And not let the fruits of the spirit and the spirit guide them.
Right.
Because yes, you can have a man that's trying to kill you and be face to face with him, and what is supposed to change your mind? Especially if he's your brother. It is the spirit.
Right.
The spirit, you're supposed to confront with that evil and say, you know what, it's not as bad as I think it is.
Right.
The spirit, the Most High got it.
Right.
That's how we should operate. Go ahead.
Wherefore the Most High reward thee good for that thou hast done unto me this day.
Right, go to 2 Timothy 2:24. See, the problem with us is that when things are done wrong towards us, we want people to acknowledge their wrongs, right? Now, isn't that biblical? Isn't that biblical? When you offend a man, you're supposed to go in and make an amends?
Yeah.
But can I force you, if he offended me, can I force him to make an amends? No. I got to give that man an opportunity to even understand that he offended.
Right.
Right? But if I'm coming in a spirit of, there's already contention, and I come with a contentious spirit because I'm irritated and aggravated because he offended me, or he did something towards me, or he said something negative, how do I remedy that problem? Did I just add more fuel to the fire? Right? So read 2 Timothy 2:24.
2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 24.
Go ahead.
And the servant of the Most High must not strive.
He must what?
Must not
No,
strive.
he definitely should go back and forth.
Must not strive.
He must not strive. Go ahead.
But be gentle unto all men, apt to teach,
Right? I'm
patient,
going to hit some of that. Go ahead. He said what?
apt to teach.
He said what?
Apt to teach.
He said what?
Apt to teach.
See, a lot of cats ain't ready to teach themselves out of their problems. You ready to fight, swing, cuss, get mad, get irritated, get upset, and then say, well, I'm humble.
Oh, you know what I learned?
Apt to teach. What's that?
When someone says they're humble,
They are not.
they are not. That's the least humbling thing you can say. I'm
I
humble.
got no pride.
I'm meek.
Okay.
I got pride.
Well, let's see.
Man.
Let's see.
They're the ones that got the most pride.
Right.
They're taking pride in saying that they don't got pride.
They're the ones that got, they be the ones that got the most contentious situations.
God.
Because every time that pride is put to the test, I'm going to show y'all something at the end. Every time that pride is put to the test, they fail.
Right.
Because they're puffed up and not of a lowly mind. And they give in to their will, to what they feel too much.
God.
Right? Read on.
Patient
Right?
and meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves.
Because when you oppose the Most High, you don't oppose the Most High. You really oppose yourself. You ain't doing nothing towards the Most High. You're doing that towards you. Read.
If the Most High pre-adventure,
If the Most High does what?
pre-adventure,
Just like he did with Saul, the Most High pre-adventured, read,
will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth.
See, the Most High allowed Saul to acknowledge the truth through David's meekness, through David not killing him, through David's compassion. Saul was able to see, wait a minute, I'm more off than I thought I was. He had to look at, he had the mirror. We're the mirror. But if you smash the mirror, then how's a person going to be able to look at themselves? If you're just coming at them with the contention and the hate and the aggravation and the lack of meekness, lack of forbearance, how are they going to be able to see how they're off? You're supposed to be that tool, just like, think about it. David just spoke to Saul. Right. And he was like, whoa, I'm blown away. Right. And now I see how off I am. Right. Because this whole time I've been seeking your soul. The Most High literally delivered me. And guess what? You calling me Lord, Master, bowing down to me, showing me that it's the Most High's will and not my own, that I've been taking things upon myself. Y'all see how this works? Go from there. 1 Timothy's. Oh no, read on.
And that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil.
Was not Saul in the snare of the devil?
He was.
But he was able to recover himself at that point. Because ain't that what we're here for? It says when one is taken in a fault, to restore him in the spirit of meekness.
Yes, sir.
Galatians 5:1, right? But how many of us know how to do that the right way, to where we don't add contention onto contention? Right? Strife onto strife. Read on.
Who are taken captive by him as at his will.
1 Timothy 2 and verse 1.
1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1.
Read.
I exhort, therefore,
Right.
that first of all,
Right.
supplications,
Come on.
prayers,
Uh-huh.
intercessions,
Right.
and giving of thanks be made for all men.
That's the first and foremost thing, regardless of any situation. Right? He didn't say railing for railing, fights, arguments, contentions. He said supplication, prayers, intercession, and giving of thanks. Go ahead.
For kings and for all that are in authority.
Right?
That we may lead a quiet and peaceable life.
Because that's what meekness will bring you. That peace. Quietness, right? Joy. Go ahead.
In all godliness and honesty.
Read on.
For this is good and acceptable in the sight of the Most High,
Right.
our Savior, who will have all men to be saved and to come into the knowledge of the truth.
Right. How though? By what means? Read on. Check this out. Read.
Verse 5. For there is one power,
Right.
and one mediator between the Most High and men.
Now, we all know what this scripture is saying. There's one power and one mediator. Right? So we know that Yahweh Shai mediates on behalf of us. Right? Now, I want y'all to look at it in this way. A person wants to see Yahweh Shai. How do they see it? Don't give me the mystical answer. How do they see it? Well, we know it's the Spirit, right? But he said, walk in the Spirit. He sees it through the action. So, what does that mean? Now, am I saying that we mediate on behalf of Yahweh Shai? No. But remember the scripture where it says the name of the Most High is blasphemed through you, through the Gentiles? Because now when you take off that cloak of meekness, humility, long-suffering, charitability, peace, joy, love, that flesh overrides. And now there is no more mediation. No, now a person is like, oh, that's what the Bible's about? I ain't dealing with that. Put yourself in situations where you let your emotions take over. They're like, see, that's why I don't deal with you Israelites, because all y'all niggas do is yell. Right? That's why I don't deal with y'all, because all y'all want to do is have women. That's why it is, because all you want to do, and they always name something fleshly. They name something carnal. They never say like, see, I don't want to deal with y'all because y'all are too peaceable. It's always something carnal. Why they don't want to deal with us. So you take away the ability for Yahweh Shai to even mediate on their behalf. Because now they're like, I'm not touching the Bible because of y'all. Right? I'm not touching it. Because if this is how you deal, you got to see, I'm trying to hit you on some different levels here. But if this is how you deal, I don't want a part of that. So now the mediation that Yahweh Shai does on that behalf, it's harder to win this person. Remember, For this is a good and acceptable thing in the sight of Yahweh Shai, the Most High, our Savior, who will have all men to be saved and come to the knowledge of the truth. But how does it happen? Through the mediation of Yahweh Shai. We're supposed to exemplify Yahweh Shai. He said, I'm meek, follow me. Right? But if you ain't meek, then what? People going to be looking at you like that's what Christ is about? Some angry Negro? Some dude that just yells all day? Right? Some dude that just cusses and screams, and we gotta be aware.
That reminds me of like what they used to say in the Christian church. You might be the only Bible that some people get to see.
You might be the only Bible, yeah. And they're reading you, they're looking, they're watching, and they're like, "Wait a minute, that ain't my Jesus. Wait, my Jesus don't talk like that. Him don't talk like that, right? He don't act like that. But is it wrong for us to be? I'm gonna say this, because we are men.
The balance.
We are men, right? And we know we don't fit the prototypical, stereotypical what a man is in America. We know we're big, we're black, we're bearded. You know what I'm saying? We're rough around the edges. The majority of Israelites, we don't fit what the Bible, what they teach in church as a man. But does that still take away the fact that we can be gentle, joyful, peaceful, laugh, smile, joke, right? Have love for a brother? Does that take away those things? No, it shouldn't, right? We should be showing those things off more. We should be the example, because like Yahweh Shai was the perfect example of how to be well-rounded. He knew when to be upset. He knew when to whip animals out the temple, turn over tables, but he knew when, the multitude, they're being weary. Let me have compassion, right? Man, you cats can't keep your eyes awake. Let me blaze y'all. He knew when to check and when to heal and when not to heal and who to heal. Like, he knew these things. He had the balance. Just like him, we got to have the balance, right? But it starts with these things that we've been going over. Y'all see this? From there, what time is it? Ooh-wee. Let me see what I got left. Let me see what I got left. Man, I have some good stories in here. Go to, so we did Timothy's, right? Drop that. I got to hit this one. Go to Psalms real quick, chapter 1, verse 15. Oh my God. Psalms 37 and verse 1. I'm sorry. Psalms 37 and 1, read that.
Psalms chapter 37, verse 1.
Right?
Fret not thyself because of evildoers.
Come on.
Neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity.
Read.
For they shall soon be cut down like the grass.
Come on.
And wither as the green herb.
You're going to read down to verse 15.
Trust in the Most High.
We're going to get David's thoughts. Right? Now, this is David running from Saul. But we're going to really get his thoughts on the matter, and we're going to understand, what does it mean, the meek shall get the kingdom? Go ahead.
Verse 3. Trust in the Most High and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed.
Right.
Delight thyself also in the Most High.
Right.
And he shall give thee the desires of thine heart.
Come on.
Commit thy way unto the Most High.
Uh-huh.
Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
Right, because he will. You put your work and your way on him, he'll bring whatever you want to pass. Go ahead.
And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light.
Right.
And thy judgment as the noonday.
Right.
Rest in the Most High.
Uh-huh.
And wait patiently for him.
Right.
Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way.
You see that? Fret not thyself. Go ahead.
Because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass.
Because that's always going to happen. There's always going to be somebody around that is murmuring, backbiting, giving you a bad name, trying to injure you, trying to take you off your path. But David is reminding us, bro, listen, put that to the side. Rest in the Most High. Abide in thy labor. Commit your mind to the Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Cease from anger.
Do what?
Cease from anger.
He says stop being angry about it. Go ahead.
And forsake wrath.
Right. And do what?
Forsake wrath.
Read.
Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil.
See, just like David, he said it was evil to kill Saul. He didn't take his wrath out. He didn't follow his passion. Go ahead.
For evildoers shall be cut off.
Right.
But those that wait upon the Most High,
right,
they shall inherit the earth.
Right, read on.
For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be.
Right? Read on.
But the meek shall inherit the earth.
The meek shall what?
Inherit the earth.
Read on.
And shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace.
See, this is how you get peace. Stop letting your mind dwell on all the negatives around you and who's saying what and who's doing what and who's trying to do this and who's trying to do that. Just chill in the abode of the defense.
Done.
I mean, that's easy enough, right? Read.
The wicked plotteth against the just.
The wicked is always going to plot. What you going to do? Have a better plot versus the wicked? Have a better plot? Or worry about, I got to plot my plot. I got to stake my defense. If you're thinking about that, then you're thinking about the wrong things.
Done.
Go ahead.
And gnasheth upon him with his teeth.
Right?
The Most High shall laugh at him.
Wait, what's going to happen?
The Most High shall laugh at him.
Read on.
For he seeth that his day is coming.
Come on.
The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation.
See that? They draw out to slay the upright. What's going to happen?
Verse 15. Their sword shall enter into their own hearts, and their bows shall be broken.
Isaiah 29 and 19. Get it quick.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 19.
Somebody else get Matthew 11, verse 28. Read.
The meek also shall increase their joy.
You see that? You're going to increase in joy. We just talked about that yesterday, right? About joy. How do you get joy? Well, you got to stop worrying about wrath and anger. Go ahead.
And the poor among shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel.
Go ahead.
For the terrible one is brought to naught.
See, the terrible one is going to be brought to naught. But does that mean that you have to be the one to do it? You more than likely will never be the one to do it. That's what you have to grasp within your own self. A lot of y'all gotta be like, you gotta go on Facebook, talk crap about the person that's talking crap about you. For what? What does that get? What do they say? Evil begets evil, right? Railing for railing. Like, all you're gonna do is just create more strife and chaos for yourself. Read.
And the scorner is consumed.
Right?
And all that watch for iniquity are cut off.
Right. Go to Matthew 11:28.
Matthew 11 verse 28.
Right?
Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavily laden.
Yeah, some of y'all are laboring too much in the negative. Some of y'all carry that weight around of, I got to justify and vindicate myself. I got to get vengeance. Some of y'all carry that burden around and you can see it like, man, I'm not getting enough justice. Who the hell are you? Who are we to even deserve justice? Or to deserve to be vindicated or to deserve to be avenged? We ain't nobody. Play your position. Do your work. But you carry around this burden. Yahweh Shai said what? Read on.
And I will give you rest.
He said, listen, man, come to me. Drop that. Drop your nets. I'll make you fishers of men, right? Drop your burden. I'll show you what you should be doing. And I'll give you the rest that you so diligently need. Some of y'all don't even want rest, though. It's like, I want to carry around the grudge. I want to carry around the hate. I got to go out and get blood. Go ahead.
Take my yoke upon you.
Yeah, you're going to take this yoke. Let's do this work. Read.
And learn of me.
And learn of me. Was Yahweh Shai running around getting vengeance?
No.
Well, not yet, right? Because there's he said, give place to wrath. Read on.
For I am meek.
I am what?
I am meek.
I am what?
I am meek.
How many times did Yahweh Shai, when it said they railed and he railed not? Right? They accused him and he did not answer. He was led like a what to the what? Like a sheep to the slaughter. Now, if anybody ever slaughtered a sheep, and if it's done the right way, that sheep will walk out of that pen, and you hold him by his little head, and you guide him right into the slaughter. He'll walk right willingly. Right? He ain't going to rebuttal. He ain't going to fight, kick back, nothing. And then when you take him and flip him, bam, he'll lay right down. And he'll lay there. He won't scream, cry, nothing. You cut his throat, he might kick a little bit. Then he just bleed out. Seen it.
Seen it.
Read on.
And lowly in heart.
And lowly in heart. Remember, it said that Yahweh Shai, had the power to call down angels. But he did not put it on himself to be equal with the Most High in any way or take more upon himself than what he really was. What did it say? He came to minister and not to be ministered unto. Oh, no. Right. He came to minister, not to be ministered unto. Right? Now, we know that Yahweh Shai could have just wiped the whole earth out. Right? I'm not dying for these Negroes. Hell nah. They wicked anyway. Why am I dying for them? Why would I die for my creation? Why would I put myself in the stead of my creation and die like my creation? Y'all ever think about that? He died like us. He wasn't us. Right? You know, the spiritual Yahweh Shai in the spirit, the one in the beginning, that wasn't us. We were made in his image. But he said he took on the form of men. Think about that meekness where he lowered himself, man. He hopped out of that throne, lowered himself, and became us to show us that we can be greater than us. Read on.
And ye shall find rest unto your souls.
Right? Read verse 30.
Verse 30, for my yoke is easy.
Right?
And my burden is light.
Yeah, man. It's easy to let go of the grudge, the pain, the hurt, the he said, she said, the want to fight back the wrong way. Right? Let me get 2 more scriptures. Let me get Psalms 94 and verse 1. Somebody else get Wisdom of Solomon 2. Read Psalms. And this is just a reminder that vengeance is for the Most High. We can't avenge ourselves. Am I saying that we don't stand up for righteousness? I'm not saying that. We got to stand up for the gospel. We got to stand up for righteousness. We have to stand up for order. We have to stand up for the principles, right? But when it comes to let me vindicate and be justified in a man's eyes, you might not get that. You might not get that at every turn. You might get accused of something that is totally wrong. And you got to just say, you know what? Let me suffer wrongfully. Let me suffer for righteousness. Right? They said, Yahweh Shai said, when the world hated you, no, they hated me first. Right? And if you partake in what I partake in, you're going to reign with me. He said, you suffer with me, you're going to reign with me. He was wrongly accused. He was wrongly slandered. And what did he do? He suffered through it. He didn't bat an eye. He didn't open his mouth, anything. Right? Read Psalms 94 and 1. Read it.
Psalms chapter 94, verse 1.
Read.
O Most High on power, to whom vengeance belongeth.
To what?
To whom vengeance belongeth.
Come on.
O power, to whom vengeance belongeth.
Read.
Show thyself.
And that's all we can do is ask the Most High to show himself in the time that's needed. To who needs to see it? To the ones that are wronging us. No, read on. Read on. Read on.
Verse 2.
Right?
Lift up thyself.
Right?
Thou judge of the earth.
Because that's what's going to happen. Read on.
Render a reward to the proud.
Come on.
The Most High, O Most High, how long shall the wicked triumph?
Because we ask it like, man, how long they going to get away with this? How long they going to talk bad about us? How long they going to downtrod us? Read on.
How long shall they utter and speak hard things?
Right.
And all the workers of iniquity boast themselves.
Right. And those are questions, man. How long is it going to happen? Well, it's going to happen as long as you're living. Go to Wisdom of Solomon 2. In verse 1. Read that.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves,
Read.
but not aright.
Read.
Our life is short and tedious.
Right.
And in the death of a man, there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave.
Right, so we know that this is the wicked, this is the ungodly. They reason with themselves about, there was many different concepts they were talking about. And in this, they were saying, well, there's no life after death. Let's just live life YOLO. You only live once. Let's live it up here on earth, right? But it gets down to a point, read verse 12.
Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous.
So if you count yourself righteous, somebody's going to be lying in wait for you. So you want to know, David asks, how long they going to boast themselves? Well, as long as you count yourself righteous, they're going to boast themselves. For as long as you live. Read on.
Because he is not for our turn.
Read.
And he is clean, contrary to our doing.
Right, so as long as you hold them fringes in that Bible and you be doers of the word, as long as you wear that cloak, right? What he said, put on the bowels of compassion as the elect. As long as you say, I want to be the elect of the Most High. These are the things you're going to be looked at as contrary to the wicked. Go ahead.
He upbraideth us with our offending the law.
Right? He upbraideth us with our offending of the law, meaning they getting chastised. We checking people. You eating pork, we telling you about that. They're like, man, what the hell are you telling us something for?
Right.
You upbraiding us. We don't want to hear that. Right. Go ahead.
And objective to our infamy, the transgressings of our education.
Right, go ahead.
He professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High.
Right, as long as you profess to have this knowledge, read.
And he called himself the child of the Most High.
And you call yourself a child of God, read.
He was made to reprove our thoughts.
And you reprove the thoughts of the wicked. Come on.
He is grievous unto us, even to behold.
And you grieve the wicked, read.
For his life is not like other men.
And you live a different life, where it's like, wow, he got liberty in Christ. Read on.
His ways are of another fashion.
And you keep the ways of the Most High. Read on.
We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
Come on.
He abstaineth from our ways as from filthness.
And you abstain from filth as long as you're doing these things. Like, you want to know, when is the slander going to stop? When is the bad talking going to stop? When is the injurious practices going to stop? When are they going to stop murmuring and slandering and talking bad about us? When am I going to stop being persecuted wrongly? Well, as long as you hold the mantle of righteousness. Read on.
He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that the Most High is his father.
As long as you say that Esau is the devil and he's going into captivity, that he that leadeth into captivity shall be led into captivity. As long as you read Isaiah 53, Isaiah 14, Isaiah 60, read.
Let us see if his words be true.
And how are they going to do that? Check this out. Read on.
And let us prove what shall happen in the end of him.
Go ahead.
For if the just man be the son of the Most High,
right,
he will help him.
Now the wicked knows this. How come we don't? The wicked knows that if you're the son of the Most High going to help you.
That's right.
In some way, shape, or form.
Uh-huh.
They know that. Right? Remember, it says the devils believe, but they tremble.
Yep.
So if the wicked believes and know that if you profess to be a child of the Most High and you hold that mantle, you hold that torch, you pick up that Bible, you wear them fringes, hair wrap, and all them garments and all the feast days and all these things, right? They know that if it boiled down to it, the Most High was going to be there for you. The wicked knows this. Read on.
And deliver him from the hand of his enemies.
Right.
Let us examine him with despitefulness
with what?
And torture.
Let us do what?
Examine him with despitefulness.
And how is this? And what else?
And torture.
And what?
And torture.
To do what? Read on.
That we may know his meekness.
You see that?
Ooh.
Read on.
And prove his patience.
Every day. Your meekness. Through torture. Right? It says torture and what else? Where's it at? What verse?
19.
Let us examine him with despitefulness. We're going to be spiteful. Think about how many times somebody was spiteful towards you. You're like, man, that's a spiteful person.
Yes, kind.
Right?
Done.
You don't know. You didn't realize that your meekness was being put on trial. And your patience. Your long suffering.
Yes,
Not just
sir.
those two. Your long suffering, right? Wow. Your joy.
Your joy.
Right? Your gentleness, your goodness.
Your faith.
Your faith. Your and as we go through your patience. And Monday, even your temperance.
Your temperance, yep.
It was all being put on trial to see. Am I really meek? Am I really what I say I am? Because a lot of brothers, you look at the wicked and you say, man, they're wicked, F them, screw them, I'll kill them, But is that the way to respond? That's how they want you to respond. That's why they come with the despite. That's why they come with the tortures. Now, how do they torture you? They just pick at you. They just pick at you. They just get you irritated for you to act out. For you to yield to their will, but not and then yield away from the will of the Most High. So, how long is this going to happen? As long as you pick up that Bible, these things are going to happen. Any question on that? Anything online? I know I took y'all a little bit over. Anything online? Nothing online. Especially when we're raised on that brother's thing. You said what? Mic drop? Mic drop, right?
What chapter and verse was that?
That was Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2.
And verse 19.
I did chapter 2 and verse 1. I mean, you can read chapter 2. It's a real good chapter. I did 2 and verse 1 just to give some context, and then 2 and verse 12 down to, 19.
19, yeah.
But, bro, it goes. This whole chapter goes hard. The whole chapter is about the wicked. Yeah. Con. Phone drop. Y'all crazy. All right, well, that was it. Hopefully, I try to make it as simple as possible. Hopefully, brothers and sisters got something from it. We'll come back Monday with the last one, temperance, and then that'll be that. And then we'll, come with some other good classes. No questions on that, on the topic? What's that?
Not necessarily a question, but throughout the whole class, just the re-examining, the self-examination of how I was in the world, so like what I'm actually fighting up against and what I'm fighting for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's what was I? What am I changing? And what am I doing it for? And how should I change? How can I use these things? We got to get better at how can I use these things. We read about it. Well, Scripture say be meek. Scripture say don't be prideful. Okay, but how? A lot of us don't know how to apply these things. So, hopefully it was a good little, a how-to.
Yeah.
All right. So, nothing online? Nope. All right. Well, thank everybody for joining us. We had 34 people online, 35 at one point. So, hopefully y'all hit the thumbs up. Remember to like, share, subscribe to all the different channels that we got. Hit us up if y'all got questions. If there's classes that you guys want done that we're missing, hit us up. We're trying to do the things that y'all need and that y'all want. So just let us know. Let us know here in Houston, or let us know out there in VA. All right. So with that, we'll end it. Just want to say Tawada again for the brothers and sisters coming through the class. Those of y'all online watching. For the patience, for the listening, and just trying to learn. Tawada, and let's salute them online. Let's say shalom. Shalom. We'll see y'all back here on
Rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on top. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutling. Hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like